Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be reviewing the LEGO Hobbit game which was released back in April of 2014. Now this is one of those games which adapts a particular movie sort of thing. So similar to how LEGO Avengers did it and how LEGO Marvel or LEGO Star Wars does it in terms of you take a movie and you adapt it into a video game format. In this instance, it being into the Lego format, and this game it only adapts the first two films. So an Unexpected Journey and The Desolation of Smaug. Now there were I think I heard this somewhere, and I'm probably gonna quickly while I'm editing this video. I'll probably go onto Wikipedia or something just to double check, because there were plans to adapt or bring the third film, The Battle of the Five Armies, into the game as DLC, but it got cancelled or something. I'm not 100% sure what happened with the details. I'll probably leave a screenshot on screen of something of one of the things that happened, and also I'll probably leave a link in the description below about. Probably to that link, which I'll have found while I'm editing. So, yeah. So this game, it only adapts the first two movies. So, overall, I would say I think that when it comes to the story itself, it tells it fairly well, I would say. I would say that in terms of the films, like a lot of the other Lego-based games that adapts films, the Lego Hobbit game does it the same amount of stuff you see in like early Lego games or in current Lego games when it comes to like how you've got a start point, you've got an end point, and you have to go from the start to the end to experience the whole thing. And yeah, I would say there are some enjoyable bits. I think with some of the things, like I do like the different abilities the dwarves, Gandalf and Bilbo have. Because with Bilbo, he's got like the ring, he can turn invisible, he can find specific bricks he can build when he has the ring on. With Gandalf, he's the magician, he's the wizard guy, he can break down specific magical barriers that the dwarves can't. And the dwarves, you got like one dwarf that can to help dig up stuff, you got another one, I think you got several that can help make a sort of like tower sort of thing, or like a small way of, or kind of like a ladder sort of, in which you can get your characters from one part to a higher part, that sort of thing. And then you've got one with a bow and one with a slingshot, that sort of thing. And then you can unlock more characters throughout the game, like whether that's I think you can find them in the level, but once you do, you have to go out and find those particular characters and then unlock them. And it's very different to how the other LEGO games do it, in the sense that once you unlock a particular character, either from a level or from the overworld, you can just unlock them by the character screen. But with the LEGO The Hobbit, it's just you go to the particular location and you buy them, and it takes a lot longer, I would say, to find those particular characters and then buy them once you're at the location, and then you collect that character and you can use them throughout the world and the levels. And yeah, it's nice going through the world, but for that particular part and a lot of the other bits, which I will get to later in the video, it can be very taxing, and it can take very long to do it. So yeah, so with the levels, I enjoy them, and they're similar to how the LEGO Avengers game does levels, in that you've got one. Let's start with the first level, for example, and which each level, or each part of the level, is split into different parts. So you've got the first part where it's like I believe in the first level it's a flashback level to when the dwarfs were ruling their kingdom, and then when Smaug came. So you've got the first part where it kind of introduces where the location is. In the second part, in the halfway point, it's sort of like you find the Arkenstone. In the third part of the level, you have to fight Smaug for the first time, and that's when Smaug takes over the mountain and stuff like that. So yeah, so kind of acts the same way in terms of how Marvel's Avengers 1 did, in terms of you've got a level, Bish Bash Bosh, you've got all these different parts, and you've got a specific amount of collectibles left in each of the levels. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And what makes this game interesting is some of the collectibles you can collect. So, like within all LEGO games, you can collect mini kits and bricks. When in the game's perspective, is called Mithril bricks, because I think Mithril is like a very rare collectible in the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings universe. And you've always got the mini kits, which are a given. They're always in every single LEGO game that's been released. And then you've got other, not locations, you've got other collectibles. So one of them being the schematics, and the other one being treasures. Now the treasures are things you can find out to help you do certain quests, or to help you collect other schematics and other treasures and stuff like that. And the schematics, or the Mithril schematics, are basically these sort of like things you have to find, and then you can forge in Bree because of the blacksmith in that part of the level, or there's blacksmith in the game that helps you forge all of these different schematics. But they do require resources. So the main one being the Mithril bricks, which you can find either in the worlds or you can collect from the level. So one for beating the level, one for getting the Master Burglar, one for mini kits, that sort of thing. And the others are loot you can find in the game, and they will help you collect, or they will help you get more of the schematics. So the more stuff you have, the more Mithril bricks, the more loot you have, the more schematics you'll be able to forge and stuff like that. So yeah. And now it's time for some gameplay. So with the LEGO Hobbit game, it's kind of like, it's basically just like the films, in the sense that, as I said before, you go through each of the levels and you can get more of the, and you can open up more of the world. And when you do start up the level, you start off all the way over here in Hobbiton, and then it's kind of like a weird sort of like line. So you start off here, you go like over here, and then it's just like through here, and then it's up here, and then you're on the mountain. And then once you've finished the final level, and once you've beaten it, the whole world will be marked as seen. So I think that's a good way of experiencing the world. And yeah, and with the characters, they all have their own unique abilities. So Frodo, he's got a sword. He's also got his walking stick and a fishing pole, and also, hang on, the ring, which can make him turn invisible, and you can just sneak about, as well as interacting with some of the bricks, or the buildable bricks in some of the levels. And then you've got Gandalf, who can just do spells and stuff like that. And one of the things I'm not a huge fan of is the character selection. Now, this is the characters you can play in the game, and there are several repeats, because there are, when it comes to Bilbo, there's Bilbo would just basically start of the film or start of the game Bilbo with Jenny's unexpected journey Bilbo. Then you've got Bilbo Lake Town. No, I think there's only two Bilbos. Yeah, two Bilbos: Lake Town Bilbo and start of the game Bilbo. But when it comes to dwarfs, there's three versions of the same dwarfs. So Balin, let's say, there's Balin, there's Balin Lake Town, and then there's Balin Young. There's three character slots that are taken up by the same character, and I think that's a waste of a character slot, because because with other games like the Lego Skywalker Saga or Lego Avengers, they've got characters that can switch between the different versions. Oh wait, no, hang on, there are three versions of Bilbo, because there's Bilbo Old. I forgot about him. And when it comes to like the Lego Avengers game, the Lego Skywalker Saga game, you've got characters that can switch between the different versions. So if it was Bilbo, let's say, if I can find him, let's say Lake Town Bilbo, it will be Lake Town Bilbo, an unexpected journey Bilbo, and old Bilbo in one character slot, not three character token positions taken up by the same character. So you've got Bilbo over here, and you've got old Bilbo, and I think this game, when it comes to this character selection, could have been either a lot smaller or a bit larger when it came to like some of the other characters. And if it did go the way of doing the characters where you can switch between the different ones, this character selection would be a whole lot smaller, and I think that would have ruined the game a bit in terms of like, oh, this is a very small character selection. But I feel like they could have at least added a bit more characters here and there instead of just doing this, because this is a mess when it comes to character selection. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about the character selection anymore because I've talked about it for a while now. So there is fast travel, and you can unlock it about halfway through the game. So that's when you finish the first movie, and that's when you unlock the eagles. Now throughout the game, you will find statues like this, and they're eagle statues. Now you can activate the eagles either at these particular statues, or when you just activate the map, or when you're in the map selection. And I say the map selection is a whole lot more easier because you're not just wasting your time going to a particular eagle tower statue and then just unlocking the map that way, and then you're at a particular location. And if I do it again, so let's go back to the mountain, because there's a thing that you can do if you're as the eagles, and also if depending on which location you're in, you can choose either some of the things. So like for this, it's either the eagle statue or the campfire. So let's just go back to Erebor. And whenever if you're flying with the eagles, if you're playing if you're playing the PlayStation version, if you press X, the eagles will squawk, and you can do this as many times as you want. And that's pretty much it. And yeah, I would say overall the map is quite huge, and I think it will take you, if you are going for like 100%, it will take you a long time to do everything because of how far everything is, and in terms of, and as well as doing everything. So yeah, so that's been it for the gameplay. Now it's time to go back to the review. So when it comes to the traversal, I'm not a huge fan of that, because when it comes to walking around the world, it feels slow, because if you look at the whole world, I'll probably bring up a map of the overworld. It's pretty huge, and about halfway through the game, you can unlock the eagles as fast travel, and that's very fun. I think it's a big help, especially if you want to try and do some of the quests or collect some of the characters. But overall, it's very slow when you're just walking from one place to the next, and it feels very slow when you compare it to the other games or the other Lego games that's been released, because you've got characters. If you look at, let's say, Lego Marvel's Avengers, that game has a huge variety of characters that you can choose from to traverse the world, whether that's Iron Man or any of his variants. When it comes to like Spider-Man or Quicksilver or any of the speedsters, Thor, those sorts of characters. And if you wanted to traverse the world, you can choose any of your favorite characters, any of your Spider characters, any of the Iron Man characters. Stan Lee, you can play as Stan Lee and traverse the world either in his Hulk form, his Stan Lee Hulkbuster form, his Iron Man Hulk, or his Iron Man Stan Lee armor, that sort of thing. He can also swing, and he's got a bit of super speed there. But when it comes to Lego The Hobbit, the character roster feels very small. It's much very small because it's only got the characters from the first two films of the Hobbit movies, and yeah, and it's obvious because you don't have the other wide roster of Lord of the Rings characters, because those two games and or more so movies take place years apart in terms of when the events take place. So obviously, won't be using every single character, but it's kind of like night and day when it comes to traversal, because you've got, let's say, for instance, Lego Skywalker Saga for Star Wars. You've got you got hyperspeed. You've got all these different locations you can go to, and the Lego The Hobbit is just walk about from one place to the next, or use an eagle. That's just it. And also, another thing I'm not a huge fan of is the way the way in which you have to try and 100% the game, because as of recording, I recently platinumed the Lego Hobbit game because I got this game on my PlayStation, and yeah, it's very, very boring if you want to try and complete everything, because you just have to try and do everything, because try and do everything like get all the mithril bricks, do all the different mission stuff. And when it comes to the missions specifically, there are two types of missions: a day mission and a night mission. Now, there are a good handful of both, but you can't do one until the specific time of day. But once you do a quest, let's say in the nighttime, there might be a quest you might unlock that only can be acquired in the daytime. And the same is reversed. If you do a daytime mission, there might be a nighttime mission you can only do in the nighttime. And it kind of gets very repetitive when it comes to the quests, because a lot of the time it's just do a fetch quest or do a customizable character quest or something like that. And it's very repetitive. I think the amount of quests you can do that repeat themselves are very obvious, and yeah, I don't think it's worth it if you want to try and 100% the game. I would say if you want to collect a certain character or just beat all the levels, I would say you just do that, because going for 100% is not worth. It's not worth it. I would say it's only worth it if you have like a friend or a family member with you playing along, like a brother or a sister or something, because it makes it go a lot more faster, and it's, I would say, a lot more worth it when it comes to, you and your friend or your family member or something like that. Just you're playing with you, and at least you're having fun. If you're by yourself and you're playing the game, it's really not worth it. It's just really, really boring, and the amount of quests that repeat themselves are quite repetitive. So yes, but overall, it's still a lot of fun. It's just a lot of repetitiveness when it comes to a lot of the quests. So yeah. So that's been my review for the Lego Hobbit game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.